Welcome to my PowerPoint presentation. I am Helen Pickford. My presentation is called Picture This: Can Brief Nature Imagery Soothe the Anxious Mind? My personal motivation for this study, as a counselling student with personal experience of anxiety, I've always been interested in how natural interventions can support mental well-being. My curiosity began with cold water immersion therapy and mindfulness, which deepened through living near nature, where I witnessed its calming effects. This led me to research how nature and virtual nature could be integrated into counselling practice, especially for individuals in urban areas with limited natural spaces. With anxiety on the rise, my aim was an accessible tool to support clients both in and out of the therapy room. Recent reports indicate a global increase in anxiety, particularly in urban areas where fast-paced living, overstimulation and limited access to nature are prevalent. The World Health Organization recognizes anxiety as a growing health concern, and the United Nations Human Settlements Programme highlights how urban settings lacking in restorative green spaces contribute to emotional distress. These findings underscore the need for accessible nature-based interventions, such as virtual nature, to alleviate anxiety and promote well-being. What is anxiety? Anxiety is a common emotional and physical response to perceived threats or stress, often involving emotional symptoms like excessive worry, fear, or unease. Cognitive symptoms, racing thoughts, difficulty focusing, or anticipating dread. Physical symptoms like rapid heartbeat, muscle tension, and gastrointestinal discomfort. While occasionally anxiety is normal, persistent symptoms that disrupt daily life may indicate an anxiety disorder, such as generalized anxiety disorder or panic disorder, which are a major public health concern. The National Institute for Health and Care Excellence emphasises the importance of early identification and evidence-based interventions. As a student counsellor, I recognise the potential of using tools like nature imagery to support clients with anxiety, aligning with a broader mental health goals in the UK to expand low-cost evidence-based interventions. The theoretical foundation showing why connection to nature matters. Several psychological and evolutionary theories explain why nature, even when experienced through images, can positively impact mental health, particularly in reducing anxiety. The biophilia hypothesis by Wilson's proposes that humans have an innate tendency to connect with nature. This deep-rooted affinity enhances emotional well-being and may help explain why nature imagery feels calming or familiar. The savanna hypothesis by Orions suggests that our ancestors evolved to prefer open landscapes with scattered trees, environments that signal safety and resources, providing survival advantages. These features often appear in calming nature scenes and may explain our instinctive attraction to them. Then there's attention restoration theory by Kaplan and Kaplan, which adds a cognitive dimension, proposing that natural environments help restore mental focus and reduce fatigue. Viewing nature scenes, even virtually, provides a mental reset, which is particularly beneficial for people experiencing anxiety. Recent empirical studies provide further support for nature's positive effects on mental health. For instance, Browning and colleagues found that college students who viewed virtual nature scenes daily experienced significant reductions in anxiety symptoms. Bratman and colleagues found that spending time in nature reduced activity in a part of the brain that linked overthinking, suggesting that nature helps calm the mind. It also engages the parasympathetic nervous system and lowers the cortisol, supporting relaxation and anxiety relief. While much research is focused on prolonged or immersive nature exposure, few studies have examined the effects of short visual experiences. This study investigates whether just 5 minutes of viewing blue or blue-green nature scenes, whether they can reduce anxiety, offering a low-cost, accessible tool for therapeutic and urban settings. Now let's move on to the method. In this study, our target group consisted of adults residing in the UK. My study focus had 63 participants. However, due to a software error, the final sample included 33 participants, aging between 18 and 63 years of age. We didn't exclude anyone based on gender, background, or nationality. Participants were told in advance what the images would show in case they had any specific phobias, and the study was considered low risk. The materials and measures. Anxiety levels, which were a dependable variable, were assessed using the current anxiety level measure, a self-reported scale designed to capture state anxiety. The questionnaire was administered through Psych Toolkit, a secure web-based survey platform. The video stimuli, the independent variable, participants were assigned to one of two conditions. The blue imager group viewed a 5-minute video composed of calming natural blue environments such as lakes, oceans, rivers and skies. The mixed imagery group viewed a 5-minute video combining both blue spaces and green spaces, including natural scenes like woodlands, parks and rivers. Each video consisted of 10 high-resolution images shown for 30 seconds each, accompanied by a calming instrumental soundtrack. The procedure. The procedure was completed online and participants were asked to do this study in a quiet area on their own PCs, on their own computers. It began with informed consent, followed by completion of the baseline calm questionnaire. Participants were then randomly assigned to either the blue or the mixed imagery group and shown their respective 5-minute video. After viewing, they completed the calm questionnaire again to measure changes in their anxiety. Following this, participants were debriefed and provided with mental health support information in case of any residual distress. The data analysis was a 2x2 mixed design ANOVA, which was used to evaluate the effects of the video type. The between subjects, the imagery type was the blue and the mixed imagery, and the within subjects was time, was the pre and post video on the anxiety levels. Ethical consideration. The study complied with ethical guidelines from the British Psychological Society and the British Association for Counselling and Psychotherapy. Participants were informed of their rights to withdraw at any time, and all responses were anonymous and confidential. While the risk of distress was minimal, participants were made of potential emotional responses and offered resources, as mentioned before, for support. Now let's look at the results of the study. For pre-intervention anxiety, group 1, which was exposed to blue imagery, had a mean score of 31.31 with a standard deviation of 15.05. Group 3, which was exposed to mixed blue-green imagery, had a mean score of 28.71 with a standard deviation of 13.71. After the post-intervention anxiety, Group 1 had a mean score of 15.69 with a standard deviation of 14.53, and Group 3 had a mean score of 14.53 with a standard deviation of 8.37. The conclusion from these results is that both types of imagery, blue and mixed blue and green, significantly lowered anxiety scores, indicating that both visual nature exposures had a positive impact on reducing anxiety. Here we have figure 1, which shows the change in anxiety levels pre and post image exposure. The horizontal axis represents time, showing the pre and post intervention scores. Group 1, which viewed the blue imagery, and Group 3, which viewed the mixed blue-green imagery, are plotted on the graph. And as we can see, there is a clear decrease in anxiety levels for both groups after the intervention. The graph visually demonstrates that both types of imagery led to a reduction in anxiety, with post-test scores being significantly lower than pre-test scores for both groups. On to the discussion. Effectiveness of nature imagery. Both blue only and mixed blue-green imagery significantly reduced anxiety. Importantly, there was no significant difference between the groups, suggesting that blue imagery alone may be just as effective as more traditional green-rich scenes. Challenging assumptions. This challenges the assumption that green elements like grass and trees are essential for emotional restoration. Instead, it appears that blue spaces such as water and sky can independently evoke calming effects, which may have important implications for future interventions. Contributions to research. These findings show that even brief exposure to digital nature imagery delivered via screen effectively reduces anxiety. This supports the potential for accessible digital interventions, including mobile apps and virtual therapy tools, to be used both in clinical settings and for everyday mental health support. The theoretical foundations. These results are well supported by the key psychological and neuroscientific theories that were discussed earlier. The biophilia hypothesis by Wilson suggests we are biologically predisposed to feel better in natural settings. The results confirm that even simulated nature can activate this response. The savanna hypothesis by Orions posits that humans prefer open landscapes with water and sky, conditions once associated with safety and survival. The effectiveness of blue imagery alone aligns with this evolutionary preference. According to attention restoration theory, Kaplan, nature helps restore our cognitive resources by softly capturing our attention. This likely contributed to the anxiety reduction we observed. Finally, from the neuroscience perspective, Ulrich, Batman and colleagues, nature imagery is known to lower stress hormones and activates areas in the brain involved in emotional regulation, offering a possible biological explanation for our psychological outcomes. Finally, my take-home message and future direction suggestions. My study suggests that brief nature exposure can lead to significant reduction in anxiety. This finding suggests that therapists could consider incorporating brief digital nature imagery into their sessions with clients as a tool for anxiety relief. Looking ahead, there are several future research directions worth exploring. First, we could explore individual preferences and the long-term effects of brief nature imagery on anxiety. I suggest a more controlled environment when participants are completing the study. It would also be valuable to investigate psychological responses, such as the cortisol level or heart rate, to complete the self-reported data we've gathered. Beyond therapy, brief nature videos could easily be integrated into daily routines, like during breaks in workplace, while commuting, or before bedtime, offering accessible tools for anxiety management. This could also have implications for urban design and public health initiatives, where nature imagery might help promote well-being in public spaces. Lastly, we can think about these as micro-restorative moments, the short 5-minute exposure that acts as a psychological pause, helping to promote calm and reduce cognitive fatigue. Here are the references for this presentation. Thank you for listening, and if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Thank you.